Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're jumping straight into Google's I/O conference from 2025, specifically their really aggressive AI push.
Yeah, it's impossible to ignore. And look, this isn't happening in a vacuum, right? The whole tech world is kind of scrambling because of generative AI.
Right.
AI that creates stuff, text, images. Companies like OpenAI have really shaken things up. So Google's reacting.
Absolutely. And that's really what we want to unpack for you in this deep dive. What are the key things to take away from Google's big AI announcements?
Mhm.
And, what does it all signal about where Google is heading? And maybe the wider tech landscape, too. We want to give you the essentials, but without, drowning you in jargon.
And that investment figure really stands out.
Oh, yeah. The $75 billion commitment just for AI. That's,
Oh, wow.
well, it speaks volumes.
Real.
Okay, so let's really dig into that.
Well, that $75 billion, it's more than just a number. It's a massive bet, isn't it? Pouring resources into R&D, advanced stuff like neural nets, maybe even quantum applications down the line.
Right.
And a big part of their announcement was the Gemini family of AI models. They're pretty confident, saying Gemini beats competitors on benchmarks.
Those standard AI tests.
Exactly, the tests they use to measure capabilities. So Google's really asserting leadership in the core tech. Seems like, especially with complex multimodal tasks, handling different types of input.
And it wasn't just abstract models. They showed off Project Astra. That seemed more tangible.
Yeah, Astra, it's a prototype, a real-time AI assistant that uses a camera, sees things.
So it interprets visual information, like you point your phone, and Astra understands what it's seeing and can talk about it.
That's the idea. It feels like a real step towards that truly interactive AI we often talk about.
Okay, that's where I get curious. Beyond just like identifying an object, what are the real applications you see for something like that?
Oh, the possibilities are huge. I mean, think about real-time help for visually impaired people, or remote troubleshooting. The AI sees what you see and guides you through fixing something. Or even education, explaining complex stuff visually as you encounter it. It shows Google wants AI woven into everything, making tech more intuitive, more aware of context.
Okay, so we've got these cool AI development, Astra, Gemini, but how does this big push hit Google's, well, cash cow? Search.
Right.
Search ads brought in, what, $350 billion in 2024. That's enormous. But these AI chatbots, people worry they'll replace traditional searching, right?
That's the fundamental tension, exactly. And the market definitely sat up and paid attention when that Apple exec testified.
About Safari traffic dropping.
Yeah, because people were using AI tools instead.
Yeah.
And Alphabet's market value took that huge $150 billion hit right after. It just shows how nervous investors are about anything messing with Google's core business.
It raises big questions about search long term.
It does.
And some of the numbers we're seeing are, well, pretty stark. Estimates suggest Google's search share might have already dipped from like 90% down to maybe 65, 70%.
And that's what some reports indicate,
Yeah.
because of these AI alternatives popping up.
And Wells Fargo even projected it could fall below 50% within 5 years. That really puts Google's AI urgency into perspective, doesn't it?
Absolutely. It highlights the pressure.
But, I mean, are these early dips really the whole story? Or could Google's brand, its ecosystem, help it hang on to users even with AI assistants out there?
That is the multi-billion-dollar question, isn't it? Google's clearly betting they can adapt. They're not just standing still.
Okay.
We're seeing AI being integrated right into search.
Yep.
You got the AI overviews.
Those summaries at the top.
Yeah, the generative summaries. And they're experimenting with that AI mode for more complex sort of conversational queries.
Right, so search isn't vanishing, but it's definitely changing. And the monetization piece, they're already testing ads in the AI overviews.
They are. It seems like the logical next step for them. You'd expect them to get, well, more assertive with monetization as AI gets more central to search.
So what does that mean for us then, for how we find information?
It suggests, I think, a future where AI is a much bigger filter, a curator, which, could be faster, more convenient. But it brings up questions, right, about transparency. How are these summaries generated? Potential bias in the AI models. What about the diversity of sources we see?
Yeah, good points.
Google's basically gambling that they can give us this enhanced AI search and keep their ad revenue flowing in this new world.
But it's not just about tweaking search, is it? They're looking at totally new ways to make money from AI, too.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Look at Google One, their subscription service. That's grown significantly.
Over 150 million subscribers now, I read.
Yeah. And the interesting part is that $19.99 a month AI tier. The fact that people are paying that premium for AI features.
There's an appetite for it.
Exactly. It suggests a shift. Maybe subscription AI tools become a really big part of Google's strategy long term, a way to diversify away from just ads.
But is there a risk there? Like alienating people used to free Google stuff if too much gets locked behind a paywall?
That's the balancing act, absolutely. It's a crucial point.
Okay, so let's recap. We have Google feeling the heat on its core business, search. They're throwing massive money, that's $75 billion in 2025, way up from $52.5 billion in 2024 at AI to adapt, search, and build new things like subscriptions.
It really underscores the scale of this pivot they're attempting.
And all this is happening while they're also dealing with, well, other major headaches.
Right. If you zoom out, the context is complex. You've got the ongoing antitrust lawsuits, the potential threat of being forced to sell off parts of the business, like maybe Chrome.
That adds a whole other layer of uncertainty.
It absolutely does. Can they actually manage these huge legal fights while fundamentally remaking themselves into an AI-first company? That's a huge question mark.
It really is. Can Google juggle all of it, Keep users happy, satisfy regulators, stay financially solid, and transform into this AI platform? Feels like a monumental task.
It is. And honestly, we're still in the early stages of seeing how the story plays out.
Okay, so bringing it all together for you listening, the big takeaways from Google I/O 2025. Google's feeling the pressure from AI competitors and the potential threat to its search ad empire.
Big time.
Their response. A massive AI investment, integrating AI into search itself and exploring new income streams like subscriptions.
But they're also facing serious competition and those significant legal challenges we mentioned, which could really complicate things.
Right. So that leads us to a final thought for you to chew on. Given how fast AI is moving and how the whole information landscape is shifting, what other really unexpected changes might we see? Things we haven't even considered yet in how we find and interact with information in the next few years.
That's a great question to ponder. The way we access knowledge is definitely being reshaped right now. And the ripple effects, well, they could be profound.